I want to talk to you today about the difference between fantasy and imagination. This is kind of a deep topic, so grab a journal and tune in. But it's something that I learned, and it's something that I actually kind of figured out after being out on so many podcasts and people asking me, well, Nina, what made you change? What made you go from living the life that you were living and living this totally different life? Because I have a totally different life now than I did, definitely from 10 years ago. And if that's kind of the journey you're on, if you're on a journey of you're wanting to shift your life from where you are to where you want to be, right? I think this message is going to really resonate because it unfolds what I've learned, and hopefully what I learn you can benefit from. Of course, take what resonates, leave the rest. I'm on my own journey with my own lens. How I see the world is through Nina Zappala. How you see the world is through your lens. Insert your name. I see the world this way, because you just do. And there's nothing wrong with that. The cool thing is, we're all here to serve and help one another. So if I can help you get from where you are to where you want to go, yay. You know, that's why I'm here. That's exactly why I'm here. So my name is Nina Zappala. I talk about spiritual personality typing. I say it's a roadmap to your true self. And why I say that is I've taken the typology from the 1940s and I've integrated spiritual understandings into it. So it's no longer this rigid 4x4 box template anymore. It's a flowing, more soulful minded, more positive minded. It's not so rigid. I'm still talking about the foundations of personality type, but I'm talking about them from a much higher elevated, higher conscious state, and how the soul uses your personality type to express itself in your personality, in your personal reality, through your personality. So hopefully you might have to rewind that and to catch all that. But that's what I do. I love it, and it's my passion. And I think that's one of the reasons why I kept on living in somebody else's fantasy world instead of reimagining, using my imagination to create my own life. So let's get into this, okay? So if you think about a fantasy world, you know, a fantasy world is a made-up matrix of ideas and concepts and everything. Are they yours? Are they yours? What I found is fantasy's great. And, you know, we all use fantasy as an escape. Hello. A distraction. Hello. Right? I mean, go to the movies. It's a fantasy, right? We go there to escape. And there's not real things going on in movies. Movies touch on some real human experiences. I'm not saying that. But for the most part, fantasy as a whole is an escape route. We use it to escape. And what I learned, like going on these podcasts, and when people go, why did you do that? What made you do that? Well, first of all, I wanted to change because the road I was on was not the road I wanted to continue on. It was not a happy road. It was not a road of joy. It was not a road of meaning and purpose and fulfillment. So I knew I had to shift. At least I knew that. Didn't know where I was going, how I was going to get there, had no clue. But I knew that. But underneath that, I started to realize that I was living somebody else's fantasy. And let me explain that. And I won't go into great detail, but I'll give you just an idea and see if you're doing this in your life, because I think we all do it in some respects. When I got in the world of PR, I didn't have a journalist degree. I was going to school for nursing. I mean, come on. So what, you know, but I was always a writer. I always loved to write, right? And I was good at it, but I constantly was fed this idea or this thought, this premise that, oh, if you're not in New York City, you can't do PR because all the journalists were there, all the magazines were there. That's where all the big stations are, blah, 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 right? that was then. This is now. A totally different story. But back then, you know, I built this fantasy of, oh my God, I have to be more like a New Yorker, whatever that is. I don't even know what that is, but I tried to be it. Hence the confusion, right? But I was trying to be something that I wasn't. I was trying to fill this fantasy of something I wasn't, and I wasn't meant to be that. So I was living in this fantasy world. If only I could. If only I could do this. So I did. I did it all. I started winning the awards. I started getting placements on covers of magazines, getting my people on the Today Show, Good Morning America, in Wall Street Journal, in Fast Company. Name a publication, and I've pretty much had my clients in there within the U.S. and across in Europe, right? So I was doing it all. And what happened is one day I was on stage in New York City. I was receiving one of the most prestigious awards you can receive, and it's a platinum award for public relations. And only 3 people in the world get that every year. And I was honored one year with the award, and I worked my ass off to get that, right? So I'm not going to say, I'm not going to say this because I want to brag. I'm going to brag a little bit because I worked my ass off. So if you're doing something and you worked your ass off, it's okay to feel good about it. It's not okay to feel arrogant about it, but it's okay to have some pride in yourself for accomplishing a goal that you worked really hard for. So let's just say that, okay? But secondly, you know, I was having this award. I already won it. I was like, oh, you know, I was with every single New York agency that was with me on stage. There was 2 other agencies, and they were both New York agencies, big New York agencies. I was on stage with them. That was my fantasy. Lo and behold, I started getting sick to my stomach. I didn't know why. I was getting real queasy. I didn't feel good. I was like, what is going on with me? And I had my divine spark within me, my soul, my higher self spoke to me and said, Nina, is this what you truly want? And I immediately said no. Because I wasn't that. I wasn't meant to be that. Some people are meant to be that. Go do it. Like I said, through the lens of Nina Zapala, through your lens, right? But I was living this other fantasy. I was living somebody else's fantasy. And I wasn't using my imagination of what I could be. So hence, that's the reason this tsunami washed in the shores of my life and like took everything out. It just like took everything away from me. Took it out to sea. Just kept on breaking everything down, washing things away from me, right? So clear my mind from this illusion of this fantasy I thought I should be. It's not who I should be, right? So then these years that I've taken years, right? And I know people are saying, well, I don't have time. Well, you always have time. You always have time to start imagining. Imagination is free. It's a gift. It's another gift from your higher conscious self, from that divine spark that's always feeding us. And where do you think imagination comes from? It comes from the divine spark. Where do you think prodigies come from? We're all prodigies. We're all prodigies. But guess what? My prodigy-ism, or whatever you want to call that, was stifled by me living and trying to meet somebody else's fantasy, the illusion of what I should be, right? So I'm starting to use my imagination, and I'm going back to my roots of what I know is true for me. I'm highly intuitive. I'm highly creative. I'm eccentric. I'm an ENTP. I love to dig, go down the rabbit hole. Because what I want to come up with are new ways of doing old things. That's what I'm really good at. And it takes imagination to do that. And if you're stifling yourself through a world of fantasy, through shutting yourself out from escaping, that imagination doesn't have time to root in you, to come alive, and then to manifest itself through your persona. Now, isn't this funny? Because I say this, and this is where this connection is so cool. That prodigy, that beautiful genius gift that's within you wants to manifest through you. And guess what? You have the exact perfect personality with the perfect traits to make that manifestation, to make that genius within you a reality. And you use your specific personality type to do so. See how that all kind of, see how my craziness kind of makes sense after you sit through the whole circle of it? But it does. I mean, so it's really interesting to see that, so many of us get lost in this idea of a fantasy world. I want to live in this fantasy world. I did it. It's disruptive. And it causes so much anxiety. And honestly, it causes disruption not only in your life, but all the people that you touch, because you're not being real with yourself. You're not being true to yourself. You're not being authentic. So everybody that you encounter, you're encountering them with this false sense of fantasy, a false sense of self. And I know I built a life around that. Thank God I've had this time now in my life where I've been able to reflect and think about the words that I'm feeding myself, and actually the root of the words and where they come from. So this is really, really, really an interesting concept if you think about, where do the roots of words come from? Do they come from a collective conditioning that wants us to live in some kind of fantasy? Or are these words that truly resonate with us, rooted within ourselves, aching to come out, hungry to manifest, and use our sacred personality type to become the genius we're meant to be? And we're all geniuses in many different ways. Many, many, many different ways. And it doesn't matter. You could be a genius juggler. You could be a genius comedian. You could be a genius professor. I don't care what it is, because it's within you. My genius is teaching what I know to help you become better at what you're meant to be. You're meant to be doing. I want to bring that to life in you. Anyway, I'm not going to go on, because you know me. I can go on and on. Don't want to do that. But I hope this made sense. I hope you're starting to see the difference between fantasy is often an illusion brought about by the external world, which distracts you from that inner genius within, and imagination. Imagination is, again, a roadmap to your genius that your soul wants to manifest through your sacred personality type. So, if you're enjoying these videos, please like, share, subscribe. I also offer sessions. I help you go through your personality type to, first of all, make sure that your personality type is what you believe it to be. So that having that corrected is paramount to living a wonderful life, to living your genius and your purpose. So I do those. I do clarity calls for businesses, which I think are so much fun. We really get into the dynamics of the imagination. It's great. And then I also do a lot of stuff on artful aging. I'm really getting back into that. I kind of strayed from that, and I need to get back into that, because the podcast, again, taught me that this is something that the world needs right now. I think we all need to, because we're all aging. So this thing is like, just because I have gray hair, I'm aging, doesn't mean like there's nothing to contribute. Oh, go and retire now, go play golf, go sit on the sidelines. No, that's not the truth. But so blog is up. It has all my podcasts on there that I've been on. They're fun. They're about midlife. They're about reinvention. They're about traveling with intention. And they're about traveling with self-discovery. So, of course, it's all rooted in finding, and becoming true to yourself, of course. But that's what I do. That's what spiritual personality does. So I hope you enjoy this, and have a great weekend. And I'll see you back here real soon.